On this episode of the Cash Compound Podcast, JDew and Jonah are going to phone in a friend, and that friend is Chat GPT. Welcome back to another edition and episode of the Cash Compound Podcast. I am 50% of your host with the most, JDew.
I'm the other 50%, and I am Jonah Dew. And 50 and 50 is 100, but we kind of have a co-host today.
We do, actually. We're going to use Big Brother or Animal Farm type thing. Big Brother, the animal, Elon. Who is behind all this?
I think it might be Elon.
Edward Snowden?
I don't know.
Could be anybody, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to chat in with Chat GPT and use some of these artificial intelligence tools to walk and talk through infinite banking, the save and spend system where you can save your money and spend someone else's. So, Jonah, I'm going to fire up the old Chat GPT, open source info out there on the internet, and I'm going to ask you, fact or cap, like how do you feel about the answers?
Sounds good.
You ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. For those of you who are not watching us, you can always subscribe and like on our YouTube channel, The Cash Compound. Of course, we're on FB, YT, TT, and IG, as well as your favorite podcast streaming platform. Jonah, what's your favorite these days? What are you into?
I like an Instagram, an IG, if you will. Don't post too often, but when I do post, it's probably going to IG.
I hear there's a lot of people following you these days.
There's a few.
Getting into it.
Going to be some more coming up here shortly.
Very good. Where can we find you?
At Jonah Dew, I believe, on that particular platform. If you want to follow along with what I'm doing personally in my fam, but if you want to follow along with what we're doing in business, it is at The Banking Bros. At The Banking Bros on Instagram. And we a lot of times post on there what we're doing, where we're headed. For instance, a lot of speaking gigs, arrangements, teaching the infinite banking concept in the next couple weeks. And we'll be posting some fun stuff and pictures along the way, so you can follow along.
Okay, we're just going to have a quicker episode today where we ask ChatGPT a few questions. The first one going in to that search bar, Jonah, is explain the infinite banking concept. All right. I'm going to read it for you, and I want you to tell me how you feel about it. The infinite banking concept, IBC, is a financial strategy that revolves around the use of a specially designed whole life insurance policy as a tool for creating a personal banking system. This concept was popularized by R. Nelson Nash in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. How do you feel about that so far?
So far, so good.
Now, what's interesting about this, I'm going to stop right there as it continues to generate things, is if you ask the internet on these social platforms, not ChatGPT specifically, infinite banking. If you ask to explain the infinite banking concept, I believe in that first paragraph I just read, you're going to find a lot of different things than that.
I agree. That first paragraph was very good, actually.
Tell us why.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, a few things. So I'm going to sneak over and read some of it so I can remember what it said. But I really liked when it said specifically designed whole life insurance.
Oh, okay.
That's actually a humongous key. Traditional, regular old, I bought it off of the website. I got it out of the brochure, the magazine, whole life insurance isn't going to do it for you. You do need specifically designed. You got to work with an agent who knows how to design those policies. Again, even if that's too high level for you, what I'm talking about is there are options on these policies, and you've got to know which options to include, which ones to exclude, things like that. I also like that it said it's a tool for creating a personal banking system.
Oh.
I mean, it's very good. So it's not the personal banking system. It's the tool that you use to then do the personal banking. Like it's very good so far. I also like how it said it was coined or whatever it said, popularized, it said, by R. Nelson Nash in the book, Becoming Your Own Banker. So also big shout out to that book. We love that book. But there's some couple other things that I've seen on the internet lately who are saying other stuff, other people and stuff like that. And it's just not correct. So I like it.
Okay.
First paragraph, so good.
Here are the key elements of the infinite banking concept. Jonah, there are 6. I'll read them for you. You tell me what you like or you don't.
Okay.
Whole life insurance policy, cash value accumulation, policy loans, personal banking system, compound growth, and tax advantages. How do you feel?
I feel great. Again, I'm interested in 2.
Okay. Which ones?
To dive down, because it just said whole life insurance policy. Yeah, that's correct, but is it going to dive into more detail there? And then secondly, it said personal banking system.
All right.
Also correct, but I'm looking for more. The other ones are like yes.
Yes.
But those, I don't know
let me read
specifically what they're trying
all
to
right,
say.
let me read into it. Number one, whole life insurance policy. IBC relies on the use of a whole life insurance policy as opposed to term life insurance.
Okay, great. Yep.
Whole life insurance provides coverage for the entire life of the policyholder and also builds cash value over time.
Well, then I have no questions. Good.
Love it.
Yep,
Okay, the
very
other one,
good.
personal banking system. That was number 4.
Yep.
The
Okay.
policyholder can use the policy loans for various purposes, such as financing major purchases, investments, or any other financial needs. The idea is to become your own banker by borrowing from the cash value and paying yourself back with interest.
No questions. Great. Chat GPT needs to join our team.
Okay, very good. Love it.
Before we jump into that second question, I think we should absolutely give a shout out to our fan follow this week. So our fan follow this week is coming to us from YouTube. And so I guess technically there's subscribers over there on YouTube.
Yep.
But this week it is Aaron Watkins.
Let's go, Aaron.
He's got a YouTube channel. I think it's just his name or something like that. But he's recently subscribed to us. He's paying attention to what we're posting. He's watching our videos. And so big shout out to Aaron. Hey, Aaron, if you see this, leave us a comment, man, or send us an email. Reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to answer your questions. And we appreciate you subscribing. Thanks for doing so. That's our fan follow of the week.
We're back with question number 2 for Chat GPT. Jonah, is infinite banking a good idea or is it a scam?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I like it.
throwing that in. Okay, so the first thought that comes through, you tell us how you feel about it. The infinite banking concept is not inherently a scam, but its effectiveness and suitability depend on individual circumstances, financial goals, and preferences. It has both supporters and critics, and the opinions on it may vary. How do you feel?
I feel fine so far. I mean, you can describe almost anything, any sort of concept like that, right?
I guess.
You have people that
Right.
support it, you have people that don't like it, but it's all about your personal preference. Especially when you're talking about infinite banking, it's all about your financial preference, your expectations, your goals. So I have no issues with it so far.
Okay, how about this? This list here now gives some of the factors to consider when evaluating the infinite banking concept. I'll list them for you.
Okay.
Complexity,
Okay.
costs and fees, returns and alternatives, discipline and commitment, and individual suitability. Tell us how you feel so far.
I feel fine. I'm most interested in discipline and commitment. I think that's a really big one. However, I think we'll probably have some good nuggets from all of them. I feel fine.
All right, so I want to jump in here to costs and fees. So I'm going
Okay.
to say costs and fees. Read that one to you, and then we'll go into discipline and commitment.
do it.
Number 2, whole life insurance policies typically come with higher premiums and fees compared to term life insurance or other investment vehicles. Critics argue that the costs associated with these policies may outweigh the benefits, and there might be more cost-effective ways to achieve financial goals.
I hate it.
Oh, you hate it. Okay,
hate
we've
it.
got one that you hate, but we need to know why.
Yeah, so I've talked about this previously on some other episodes. If you're paying attention or binge watching or binge listening to our podcast, if you've talked to me on the phone, I've definitely mentioned it to you if you brought it up. I think that cost, saying this is more expensive than an alternative, is such a poor argument when you're not talking about the benefits of each one, right? It's almost like saying, hey, Jeremiah, you know that owning a house is more expensive than renting one, right?
Yeah.
And that's but that's where they stop. That's your argument. Hey, it's more expensive.
So
Hey,
we
you
should
know-
all be renters.
Yeah. Hey, you know that buying a car is more expensive than renting one, right?
Yeah.
And that's all they say. It's like, that's not the whole argument. Buying a car means I can drive it whenever I want to, right? I can go further. I don't have someone tying me down attached to it. I mean,
Zoom,
there's
zoom.
so many things happen. Buying a home means I own the thing. So yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. I'm paying for maybe utilities that I weren't going to pay for before. Maybe I've got some repairs to do, but owning something means that you control it. You can do anything you want with it. Some things, if you own them, build equity, like whole life insurance. And so just saying, you know, big screen TVs are more expensive than the little ones. I hate the argument. It doesn't make any sense. Not when you talk about the benefits of each individual product. You can't just say one's more expensive in your sentence. Don't like
Okay.
it.
I'm going to let you have that one. Moving on to point number 4 it brought up, discipline and commitment.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go. The success of IBC relies on disciplined financial management and a long-term commitment to the strategy. Individuals must be diligent about repaying policy loans and managing their finances to fully realize the benefits.
I love it. I've got no questions. The only thing that I'd expand on that and say is they are absolutely correct. Who's putting the information into Chat GPT? It's just the internet?
The Smurfs?
Okay.
I don't know.
Whoever did it, great job. That's exactly correct. You do have to have a plan and a process in place, and that's one of the things that we take a lot of time to make sure that you have, walk you through it individually, personally, here at the Cash Compound. So great. That's what I was just nervous. I wasn't nervous. I just wanted to know what they were going to say about that one, but great.
All right. We like it. All right. How about this one? New question. Question number 3. Can I use an indexed universal life insurance policy for infinite banking? What do you think is going to come back on this one before I read it to you?
I think that they're hopefully Chat GPT says, yeah, you can, but, and then a humongous list of things to pay attention to.
All right.
Yeah.
You down with GPT? Let's go. Yes, it is possible to use an indexed universal life insurance policy as a vehicle for implementing the infinite banking concept. How do you feel about that line?
I feel fine.
Okay. All right.
I feel fine.
The IUL is a type of permanent life insurance that provides a death benefit along with cash value components that can grow based on the performance of a stock market index.
Okay.
You still good?
I'm fine. Yeah, I mean, that's what IUL is. So
All right. Very good. Let's read the list here. There's 2 sections. Here's how you might use an IUL for infinite banking. And the second set of list is, however, it's important to note that using an IUL for infinite banking comes with its own set of considerations.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
All right. So the first list has 4 in it. Okay. Here's how you might use an IUL for infinite banking: cash value growth, policy loans, tax advantages, and flexibility.
That's a little bit less than the whole life list earlier. We got 4 things on that list. The whole life list earlier had 5 or 6.
I think it was 6.
Okay, 6 things.
Okay. We'll
It's
dive
fine.
into any of those if you want.
But the first 4 are the same, basically.
Okay.
So I'm fine. Yep.
All right. Very
It's
good.
It's interesting that the IULs got less benefits.
Let's look at flexibility. I'm going to read this one.
Okay.
IUL policies often offer more flexibility in premium payments and death benefit options compared to traditional whole life policies. This flexibility can be advantageous for tailoring the policy to your specific needs.
Okay.
All right. No problems?
It's fine. I got no problem. I mean, it's true. The key here to the 2 prompts that we've typed in so far is when we typed in using whole life for IBC or explain IBC to us, it specifically said whole life. We didn't prompt that in there, right?
It's true.
It specifically says you got to use whole life to do IBC. When we asked it, okay, can we sneak in a different type of insurance to do IBC? It said it's possible to do that. That's when the first 2 words out of a sentence. Then it gave us 4 benefits, not 6. And then it also gave us another list of things to watch out for. So let's go through that list.
Let's do it. What to watch out for? This own set of considerations. There are 3: market risk, policy costs, and complexity.
Okay.
I feel like we better dive in on all 3.
We might as well.
Let's do it. Market risk. While IUL policies provide the potential for higher returns based on market performance, they also come with market risk. If the chosen index performs poorly, the cash value may not grow as expected.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Well, we've got guarantees in the whole life contract. We don't have it here. Here, the other way, how we use these words is very important, because I want to jump in on the cash value may not grow as expected. What is the expectation if it may not grow? Why would we expect it if it may not? See, that's the part that gets me.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Well, the thing is, it's why is it expected? Why is it expected? Because there's average returns over long periods of time in the index? Is it because the paperwork said there was numbers on there? Because it can't predict future index performance.
Right.
It's just the paper.
That's interesting.
Okay. Second one, policy costs. IUL policies can have higher fees and expenses than other types of life insurance policies. Understanding the costs involved is crucial when evaluating the overall effectiveness of this strategy.
Yep. So this is different than the costs when we were talking about whole life, right? When it had a cost section on whole life, it said, again, we can go back and read it, and like you've probably heard from a lot of financial gurus out there, well, whole life is more expensive than term. And like I just mentioned to you, I think that's a really poor argument. You weren't talking about the benefits of either product. In this particular policy cost section, when we're asking about using IUL for infinite banking, it says that IUL policies can have higher fees than the rest of the type of permanent insurance. So I want to make the distinction. Like it's saying of the permanent products, which includes whole life, IULs are generally on the higher side of that as far as fees go. But again, I'd still argue you've got to look at the benefits of the products. You can't just say this one's more expensive, so I'm out. That's not how you should be making decisions, right? No one makes decisions like that generally when it comes to significant purchases in their life. That's not how we do it. And so I'm telling you, when you're talking about infinite banking and putting some money somewhere where you're going to have consistent and constant compounding and growth, don't just look at this one's expensive and this one's not expensive. It's not a good argument there.
All right, complexity. Indexed universal life policies can be complex with various features and options. It's essential to fully understand the terms and conditions of the policy, and working with a knowledgeable financial professional is recommended.
Yeah.
Here's the one that I like, that center sentence. It's essential to fully understand the terms and conditions of the policy, and nobody does.
The terms and conditions of index universal policies are really, really, really complicated, like big time complicated. The funny thing, the part that I like the most, again, is I'll just point out, when we asked about infinite banking, it specifically said you've got to use whole life, and it didn't give us a list of things to watch out for or consider. When we said, can we sneak in IUL and do whole life? It said possibly, and then it also gave us a bunch of stuff to pay attention to. Again, if you're asking me, it just seems like the answers here are pointing to, it also, this is unique. When we asked about infinite banking, it said, well, it was made popular by Nelson Nash in his book. When we asked about IUL, we got no reference to...
Well, hold on. Let me try a different prompt,
Okay.
maybe. One last prompt. Where did the idea of using IUL for infinite banking come from?
Yeah, let's see what this says.
Okay, Chat GPT says the concept of using index universal life insurance for infinite banking is an extension of the broader infinite banking concept itself. The IBC was popularized by R. Nelson Nash in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. The core idea of IBC is to use specially designed whole life insurance policies to create a personal banking system.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I like that answer very, very well. It's interesting that they've referenced R. Nelson Nash and whole life insurance now on two different prompts that we put in, because specifically, if you actually read the book, he's very clear about which type of insurance you should use. And it's just like ChatGPT saying, it's a whole life insurance, not indexed.
Yeah. Now, the thing where we're jumping in, if we can add a New Testament on what Nelson says, is he does not expound on why not to use IUL. He just doesn't do it. It's a small section of his book. The 5th edition book is the one we like. And he talks about, what's his name? E.F. Hudson or whatever, Hutton, something back in the 80s when Universal Life came out. Indexed did not come out as a brand new product right before he wrote the book in 2000. So a lot of people like to argue that Nelson wasn't really aware of what the newfangled, better versions of permanent insurance were. And because IUL started in 97, no, it definitely works better. Upside potential, baby, downside protection. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like we need to find someone out there, because I haven't found anyone. I haven't heard of anyone. I don't know anyone touting this that's using indexed universal life insurance policies for infinite banking and having a good time. But I know
they might be trying, but they ain't happy.
I mean, thousands of people who are using whole life insurance for infinite banking and having a great old time.
Okay.
So that should tell you something, right?
It might. That's why we are asking the questions to this artificial intelligence. Well, that's our episode for you, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted to dive in and use ChatGPT, ask it a few questions, just see how we felt about it. Jonah wasn't aware of the questions I was going to prompt. So if you would like to have a conversation with a real-life human who practices IBC the way ChatGPT told you it was concepted, concepted? That's probably a word.
Sure.
Then you're in the right place. The Cash Compound is here to help you with code cracking cash flow. So all you got to do is click the link for a one-on-one cash consultation with one of our coaches. Peace, everybody. We'll see you on the flip side.
You are now tuned to the banking bro. Said we couldn't make it, 3 settle, this the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer, we taught you how to be the bank.